I'm up to date on the 2D continuity of Mortal Kombat. So we're going to talk about that. Original continuity, let's go! Alright, Mortal Kombat 1. A lot of mysteries in this one. So Mortal Kombat 1, part of what I knew going into this was I actually listened to the Mortal Kombat soundtrack, which does give you a little bit of story, but mostly they somehow made songs based on like the powers and looks of characters, which I think is really impressive that those songs are such bangers still today with what they had, because you know, it's not a lot of stuff to work with, but there is a story in MK1. So the story is the Mortal Kombat tournament is happening, and this is basically the 10th tournament in a row. And for this one, Goro has won like 9 times in a row, and he's working for basically Shang Tsung. They're like kind of allied, and if Goro wins this 10th tournament, it could be devastating for Earthrealm. Like Earthrealm basically will be destroyed. It's not good. So Liu Kang enters. He is part of the Shaolin monks, and he enters to basically win to protect his people. He ends up being sort of the champion of this tournament, and in MK2, we're gonna learn about a little bit more about Liu Kang and why does Liu Kang even exist? Is it because of Mortal Kombat? No, we're gonna learn a little bit more about Liu Kang's realization of his role in all of this. But in this one, he ends up just being like the hero. He wins. A lot of the other characters in this are super mysterious. So you have like Sub-Zero and you have Scorpion. And what do we know about Sub-Zero? We know he's been paid to kill Shang Tsung, but we never find out who paid him and what that's about. Scorpion is just literally just straight up mysterious. He doesn't like Sub-Zero, and so they have to like fight each other. Reptile's also in this, which I was surprised about. Reptile is sort of a combo of just Scorpion and Sub-Zero. He doesn't have his own abilities at first, and he's from a different race, but we don't know because he shapeshifts to look like a human. And there was also a rumor of Ermac in this, because there was an error code which actually read Ermac, and people thought that was another character. Johnny Cage is also in this, Kano is also in this, Sonya is here in this, and basically their motives are actually very similar to the first movie. So Sonya is here to get Kano because she's looking for revenge because Kano killed her partner. Kano's just a criminal. He's like sort of out for himself. He's on the run from the law. Johnny Cage is a superstar who's just looking to get some sweet like clout and prove himself as a fighter. And then we have Lord Raiden, who's a little bit different in the sense that he's actually just a thunder god who was invited to compete in the tournament by Shang Tsung. And Lord Raiden is the enemy of Shang Tsung, so he's here to try to beat him, but he's not here like sort of bringing the heroes together. Not yet. In the end, of course, Liu Kang does win against Shang Tsung. You defeat Goro and Shang Tsung, which Goro sounds like he's impossibly hard to fight, and Shang Tsung can literally become all characters, including Goro, so also insanely difficult to fight against. And Liu Kang wins, and that is the canonical ending. And MK2, we returned to the tournament because basically what happened is Shang Tsung was working for a bigger bad, Shao Kahn, and Shao Kahn is not happy that his servant failed him. But Shang Tsung begs him, he's like, give me another chance, I can do it, I have a plan, I'm gonna basically bring the heroes of Earthrealm to like Outworld, and then it'll be easier for us to defeat them, And so Shao Kahn is super about this plan. He decides to make Shang Tsung young again, so we get young Shang Tsung in this game, and another tournament happens where basically everyone is brought to Outworld to fight. A lot of the areas that you're fighting in are a lot darker to reflect the fact that we're like in this other realm. I really think Mortal Kombat 2 actually sounds like one of the best ones of these 3 that I'm talking about, even though apparently MK3, there's a version of MK3 that Ed Boon says is his favorite of the 2D games. So yeah, and a lot of people did like MK3, but I don't know, MK2 just seems so classic to me in terms of the story and in terms of like a lot of the visuals in this game and character design. In this version of the story, Raiden is the one that gathers the heroes. So he's more of like a leadership role, a mentor role. He brings everyone here. He also has this amazing move that I found out about through going back and sort of looking at these stories, which, by the way, I'd like to shout out Don Critic's channel, who has really awesome breakdowns and deep dives into all of these retro Mortal Kombats. And so that's where I learned about it. And if you would like to go check it out, I'll make sure I put some links in the video description for you guys. But yeah, really awesome channel. He does really good work. So just a little shout out. You should go check it out. You should go subscribe. But yeah, Raiden has this move that is basically, he just like becomes a human torpedo. And I think the sound that he makes is the thing that just really got me with it. But it is so funny and so great. And obviously it makes sense that a Thunder God would fly like that. So I just love that. I hope we get that in Mortal Kombat 1, the reset now in 2023, because it's so good. Liu Kang and Johnny Cage are also returning in this game. They're now friends after the first tournament, and they're working together to represent, obviously, Earthrealm and defeat Shao Kahn here by winning the tournament. Sub-Zero also returns, but we actually find out that the original Sub-Zero died, and that this Sub-Zero is actually his younger brother replacing him. Scorpion killed the original Sub-Zero, and then he initially is like, oh, how did Sub-Zero return? Scorpion is also apparently like an undead warrior, which I didn't realize in the first one, but his eyes are completely white, and that's why, I guess, because he is like an undead guy. So he initially is like, I'm gonna kill this Sub-Zero. Then he finds out that this Sub-Zero is actually the original Sub-Zero's younger brother, and he actually feels bad about what he did and decides that he's going to just protect Sub-Zero. He has beef. He doesn't have any beef with this Sub-Zero, and he actually feels like guilty for taking away, I guess, his older brother, which it's kind of nice. I kind of like that little change of heart. So he like just becomes his guardian instead, and then they become buddies. Kung Lao is also in this game, and he's here to avenge his ancestor, the great Kung Lao, who was killed 500 years ago by Goro. And so he is also fighting for Earthrealm. He's a former Shaolin monk who belongs to an organization known as the White Lotus here. We learn more about Reptile. We get Reptile's actual reptilian face in this as well. And we learn that he's actually from an ancient reptilian race that is believed to have gone extinct millions of years ago. Although in the next game at MK3, we're also going to meet Chameleon, who's apparently another reptilian person. She's a lady, and she can like also transform. And I was just like, oh, like, he's like, I'm the only one. Just kidding. Chameleon is also here with me. And here, Reptile finally gets his own moveset, which was kind of nice as well. So that's good. We get Katana and we get Melina as well. So Katana is the daughter of Shao Kahn. She is an assassin who basically is working for Shao Kahn. And, well, we don't find out that she's his daughter in this one. That's in the next game. But in this one, she's just an assassin who's working for him. But she has her own plans to maybe ally herself with Earthrealm because of her past, which we later find out her parents were killed by Shao Kahn, and they were actually the rulers of Outworld, and so she is just like looking for revenge. There's also Melina, who is her identical twin sister, and we later find out that Melina is not her twin sister, but is actually created as a clone of her using Baraka's DNA, which is why she kind of looks like Baraka, which we find out at the end. In her ending, if she wins, her and Baraka rule as king and queen. And Melina is definitely like the evil clone of Katana in this. She's also an assassin working for Shao Kahn, but she's loyal, and she has been asked to keep tabs on her sister. It's weird to me, though, that that would all be accepted, and like Katana wouldn't be like, wait, did I never have a twin sister? Like, maybe she was created at a young age. And there's also Baraka. Baraka is definitely a bad guy in this. He is the one that attacked Liu Kang's temple to help like bring him here by basically killing all of the other Shaolin monks, which is pretty terrible. So yeah, Kano and Sonya are also in this game, but only as prisoners, so they're not playable, which as a Sonya Blade fan, I gotta say is pretty disappointing to me. And this is also the game where Toasty comes from. So Toasty is when you get like a perfect uppercut, and then basically what happens is there's a little guy that pops up that goes, Toasty! And that is actually Dan Forden, who basically worked on sound and the music for Mortal Kombat. And I gotta say, I looked him up, and at 59, he looks like almost the same. Like, I'm pretty sure this man's a vampire. Dan Forden, like, he looks good, man. Like, good for you, Dan Forden. Also, yeah, I just love Toasty. I think that's really funny. And there were secret characters in this game. So we got Jade and Noob Saibot, but we didn't really know anything about them. So we learned more about them in Mortal Kombat 3. And that is basically... Oh, we also apparently get the first appearance of Scarlet before I move on. Scarlet is obviously a character that I've wanted to cosplay, and Scarlet was actually just a glitch where Katana turns red, but people like dubbed this version of her like Scarlet, and then she would end up becoming a playable character later on in the franchise. In the end, Liu Kang of course wins, Shao Kahn is defeated, and he goes home to like sort of mourn his fellow monks. And he realizes and embraces that maybe this is his destiny to be the champion of Earthrealm. But obviously, that's not where the conflict ends, because we have Mortal Kombat 3. And then we have Mortal Kombat 3, which is a mess. Kind of like the movie. I can see where the movie gets a lot of the, like, a Mortal Kombat Annihilation, where it gets a lot of the story from now with Mortal Kombat 3, and where it's very convoluted, kind of like Mortal Kombat 3. So in Mortal Kombat 3, the premise of this game is that basically Shao Kahn, having lost sort of twice now, is just like, okay, I'm not gonna bother with any tournaments. We're just gonna invade. We're just gonna straight up invade. So his plan is to basically resurrect his queen, Sindel, who died years and years and years ago. And in that way, because he's resurrecting her on Earthrealm, while Shang Tsung is resurrecting her, then he will be able to invade, because I guess she'll be there, so that like gives him, like, she's basically like his portal, his stepping stone into Earthrealm. She's not literally a portal, but you know what I mean. Now he can come to Earthrealm because she's there, and she's his queen. So now Earth is being invaded, and instead of this having sort of that fantasy vibe where we're going to like other worlds and having crazy battles, and obviously there's lots of like Asian inspiration in the previous games, this one is just based on Earth. So it's a lot more like grounded in like a urban vibe, in the sense that you're just fighting like in America. This is a game that also became weirdly obsessed with robots. So Shao Kahn decides to basically like digitize like his entire army, and so most of the characters have some sort of like cyborg enhancement, and then these are the games that we were introduced to ketchup in mustard. So that would be Sector and Cyrax, where Cyrax is like kind of a cyborg that didn't want to be a cyborg, and Sector is like, I'm super here for being a cyborg. In addition to that, Sub-Zero was also going to be turned into a cyborg. He ran away. Smoke was going to be turned into a cyborg. He ran away, but then he got caught, so then he did get turned into one. But Smoke also, I don't even remember, was Smoke in the original? The other weird thing about Mortal Kombat 3 is that there's like multiple different versions of it that were released and updated, because initially the first one was like pretty mixed for how people felt about that release. So they kind of kept like updating it. Like every few months it feels like there was maybe a new version. And the different ports are also all different in terms of what they provide. Also, this game doesn't have Johnny Cage. It's got Stryker, who's this, I don't know, he's like a cop. It's got Jax as well. And actually, I will say, for Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Jax apparently is supposed to have like sleeves, apparently. Like he has cybernetic enhancements to his arms, but they're not robotic arms. So his sleeves kind of make sense. The part where he takes off his sleeves though and is like, I just need to trust my own arms, which are way better than any cyber enhancement, doesn't really make sense. It would make sense if we made Mortal Kombat Annihilation more about the idea of the dangers of technology and being taken over by technology, and then us kind of realizing like our own inner strength, or maybe like the technology, because it's calculated, can't do things that humans can, something like that. We didn't do that in Mortal Kombat Annihilation though. We did something else. So that's also a huge theme in the game, is just a lot of characters becoming cyber men and women, and like whether or not they're for it or against it. But Shao Kahn is definitely for it, it seems. Although, you know what's interesting? I don't think he's a cyborg in this. So what's up with that? Huh, Shao Kahn? In the end, it's revealed that Sindel wasn't actually initially Shao Kahn's queen. She was actually the ruler of Edenia, which Shao Kahn invaded. He killed her husband, Jared, and then she was made his queen, and their only daughter, Jared and Sindel's only daughter, Kitana, was basically adopted by Shao Kahn and made his daughter, and that is the real thing, which is a little bit different than Mortal Kombat 2 in the sense that her parents were supposed to be the original rulers of Outworld, which Shao Kahn invaded, and he, you know, killed her parents and then took over. Instead, in this, she is also from Edenia. Edenia was taken over by Shao Kahn, and then this was like made, these people were like forced to be his family. Sindel ends up realizing this and kind of coming to her senses, even though initially when she's revived, she is fighting for Shao Kahn. It's kind of similar to the movie, but in a way that I feel like you could actually have made it make more sense based on this plot. They didn't really explain a lot of that in Annihilation, so yeah. Mortal Kombat 3 also does have animalities and brutalities. Brutalities are where you beat up somebody so bad that they just explode, and animalities are where you turn into the animal, and then that's your fatality is you in an animal form. Some of the animal forms make sense. Some of them, I'm looking at you, Johnny Cage, when you were later added in. So ridiculous. Oh, the other interesting thing that I found out about MK3 is that Shiva is actually supposed to be Sindel's like bodyguard, and she's actually super suspicious of Shao Kahn the entire time, which I thought was interesting. Jade also later gets added in as well, and Jade is interesting because she's an assassin working for Shao Kahn, but she is also Kitana's friend. So she wasn't her bodyguard when I said that before in my Mortal Kombat Annihilation review. She was her friend who still is tasked with hunting down Kitana. I'm not sure what her allegiance is. Probably more to Kitana, but she gotta work for Shao Kahn, you know, you gotta make that money. So that's MK3, and in the end, of course, the heroes do win. They beat out Shao Kahn's invasion. Sindel comes to her senses, and then she's reconnected with her daughter Kitana. Happy ending for everyone. Friendship. And friends, that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed this slightly chaotic, but I tried to be as brief, but also as thorough, two conflicting things as I could as I recapped this for you and also for myself. So yeah, I definitely think Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat 2 are stronger. Mortal Kombat 2, I think, being the best in terms of story, whereas Mortal Kombat 3 is just kind of all over the place, but it did a lot of cool stuff in terms of the gameplay, so I do respect it for that, and I'm very excited to see where we go with the next part of this story. So stay tuned, I'll be recapping that next week, and as always, friends, stay nerdy. Bye! Toasty!